Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome once again to your live Investment Dominator Q&A call. And as usual, I'm Warren Davis, and we're here today on this Thursday. It is the 18th of June to get your questions answered, and hopefully we can do a real quick sound check. Good afternoon. Those of you that are saying hi, hello, Abby. Good to see you. At least good to see your name on the on the screen there. Just want to do a quick sound check and screen check. Hopefully you can see my screen. Excellent. Thank you for that input. I know that you can hear me and that we're coming through loud and clear. Well, we're here today. We're going to take care of this backlog of questions that we have. We have quite a few questions that came in on Monday. Excuse me, and I wasn't really privy to how many questions we had. I knew we had quite a few. A lot of them a few of them we did get answered on Monday. We're going to try to knock these others out that came through on Monday and even on last week, Thursday. So as we're getting started here, if you're brand new, and we know that there are some that are on the call that just got Investment Dominator even just last week. So I've been on onboard calls with a few of you and getting you set up. But we're here to get your questions answered. And as we look at my screen, those of you that are brand new, if you want to type in your questions, please put in front of the question, like either the letter Q, signifying it's a question, and then you state your question, or you can use a question mark symbol in front of the actual question as you write it out, or you can use the word question itself. And that will help me determine or distinguish between questions and comments that come in. I always like to see the comments, and we definitely need to see the questions. So it helps me with so many of you that are writing in for that to happen. And we are expecting quite a few, as I stated, because we have some beginners that just got Investment Dominator last week. So Monday we went through our setup, and today we want you to be able to get those questions answered as we move forward, as you move forward in your business. We do want you to know that there are definitely 3 mindsets of individuals that are on the call with us today. The first mindset are people that have been, in the business for a while. They've been using Investment Dominator, and so they're familiar with Investment Dominator. And so you might have a little bit more sophisticated or high-level questions, and we want to definitely address those as well. The second mindset are people who have just recently completed the 2-day Maximizer workshop, perhaps just even last month, and so now you've gone back and you've started using the Investment Dominator, and you have another, maybe they're still towards the beginner type questions, but they're they're a little bit more advanced because you've already been using the system for maybe a few weeks. And then there are those of you that have joined us just even last week where you have not been through an Investment Dominator 2-day workshop, and you haven't really started even to use the system because you're just now getting it set up. So those 3 different mindsets, hopefully I can petition all of you to be patient as we get as many questions answered as we possibly can, as I stated, with the different mindsets that are on with us here today. So let's get into our Investment Dominator and start knocking out some of the questions. Hopefully we'll be able to help you move forward even today. So from last week, we had Kedra ask a question. She said, if I download the offer letter for my first offer outside of the Investment Dominator, so we know that we're talking about offer requests. So these are your offer requests. They're in pending preliminary research. She says, if I download the offer letter outside of Investment Dominator, do I just upload the letter there? And I'm thinking she's saying, uploading this into Investment Dominator. And so basically, if you did create an offer for property and it wasn't in the Investment Dominator, that means you probably do not have a record with that particular person's name, that owner's name, and their parcel ID. So what you need to do, Kendra, is come in here and just say add a record. And when you add that record, you obviously are going to have it, since you've already created the offer. It's going to start out in probably offer sent status, but you basically come in here, put it in the offer sent status, and then you can just fill out the name, first name, last name. If there's an owner, this is the caller, but if there's a caller and the owner, could be the same person. Make sure it's marked individual, and just come on down and put in what information you have here. If you have a phone number, a mailing address, etc. Just fill out all of this information that you may have for that record and for that parcel. Definitely anything in red here you see, it's very important that you fill out that information, especially. That's why we have it highlighted in red. And then when you come down, you may not know what the property value is or even what the county assessed value is. But then again, if you've already sent them an offer, you probably do have this information. You probably have the information of what the county said that was worth and what the market value is worth. So we want to go in and fill that information in, and fill in as much of this as you can. And then you come down here and just say finish, add record. So that's how you're going to get that record into the Investment Dominator, since you sent that record outside of the Investment Dominator. And then going forward, you can just move it through the different statuses. If we select one, if you change the status from, the offers sent, if you have already sent the offers, then it'll just progress through the LPG deal flow process from one status to the next. Okay, hopefully that helps clear that up. And I see we've got some questions already coming in. Like I say, I'm gonna handle this backlog of questions hopefully as quickly as possible, and we hope to get some of the new ones today. So the other question we had coming in today, or coming in from last week, was Jason. He basically was saying if we could describe 2 items new investors using the Investment Dominator should learn and focus on understanding. So what 2 things? There's actually more than 2 things, Jason, but the 2 things, if you just want to pick 2 things that I would have you focus on, I would have you come up to your help here, your help facility, and get familiar with your searching of your user guide. So that's actually exactly going to end up being 3, but because this is a big tool in your life as new investors that will really help you learn a lot about the Investment Dominator. Learn to use your search your user guide. But once you search your user guide, just type in the word import. So if I were going to say anything that I see students struggle with initially, new investors using the Investment Dominator, is importing, how to import your list for land investing. This is something I would have you focus on. Go ahead and look at this video over here and simply come down and study the information. It's not, it's just a couple of pages here, but study these fields and how to import data into the Investment Dominator. All right, how to upload your file, etc. And the type of file you need to upload being a .csv, comma delimited file, I would definitely focus on that. Okay, that would be one item, is importing data into the Investment Dominator. Secondly, what I would focus on in the land deals area, once you hit land, I want you to focus on the difference in these upper commands up here. You have advanced search, new offer request, add record, import. Understanding the difference between these commands at this level, which are bulk level, what we call bulk level commands, which means that as we interact with any of the records that are in our dashboard or being displayed, these upper level commands here do so based on the status of the record. So when I come into campaigns, campaign shows me any records that are in prospect status. You'll see them prospect neutral letters. Any records that are in pending preliminary research, they're in the offers section. Okay, so I would get familiar with the difference between the commands at this level, which is your bulk level commands, versus the commands at this lower level. And basically any commands at this lower level require you to have selected some record in your dashboard area. then you're interacting with these records at this level, right? I hope I'm explaining that right, but the whole point I'm trying to make here is even though I don't select any records, whenever I'm dealing with these level of commands, these bulk level commands, it's going to deal with every single record in my investment dominator based on the status, right? It's going to do certain, it's going to create certain documents when this is in prospect status, mail letter one status, etc. If it's offer request, pending preliminary research, this bulk level command is going to deal with everything, all the records that are in pending preliminary research differently than it does the ones that are in prospect. So what I'm saying in short is any records that when you come to any commands at this level here, where you see merge, export, new offer request, tag, etc., generate documents, this is based on you selecting records this way. If we're talking about bulk level, if you want to look at every record in the investment dominator, regardless of if you've selected it or not, you'll be up here dealing at this level. So that's something I would have new investors to understand. And there's much more to understand, but you said two things, so that's what I would have. Those are two things I would have you initially focus on and understand. Okay, question still coming in. We had another question by Tarek, and excuse me. How can I process the offer letter through Investment Dominator along with the purchase agreement? Okay, so that's an understandable question, how to process it. And simply how to process it or print it out. You want them in pending preliminary research. Now, any record in pending preliminary research is going to fall under our offer request stage. Understand that these stages in the green up here, these are stages. And so you can have multiple statuses showing up in a stage. And this is, the offer request stage. So she's asking, how can I process the offer letter through the investment dominator with the purchase agreement? So simply, any record in offer request, once you come up here under campaigns, is automatically going to show up here in the offers section. This is your cover letter. This is your actual sale agreement or purchase agreement. And this is your exhibit A. So this is all information that you would print out for your offers going out of Investment Dominator. Give you a quick example. So again, if I wanted to select one of those offers, I would come in here, select the record. Now, I'm going in to generate documents because I've only selected one record. If I hadn't selected any record and I want to see all of the offers, I would use my campaigns and go into the offers that way. But I'm going to go into the offers through generate documents here. And as you can see, it produces the offer. And here is the sale agreement. So that's how you would produce that out of Investment Dominator for that one record. If you just want to do one record at a time, you'd come in here and select it and then go to generate documents, and that will produce that out of the Investment Dominator using generate documents. Okay, if I want to see all of my offers, of course I have to use my campaigns, which is my bulk level command. Hopefully that brings a little insight there for you. Okay, and let's see. A few more of these questions that we have here. That this one is a real good one. Carlos asked on last Monday. All right, this is more of a business question. Okay, he wants to know if we are still buying and selling properties. Okay, just like before. and he's speaking just like before um, COVID-19 started. Okay, or have we adjusted some of our prices? Okay, that's a good question. And I will say that in terms of acquiring land, meaning getting land under contract, where people come and say, well, hey, I accept your offer, right? So they're pending preliminary research. We send them out an offer and they accept that offer. And then we're actually going to move that from pending preliminary research, uh, we go to offer sent to open escrow detailed research. So in terms of that, Carlos, um, acquiring land, it's still the same. Like we still send out our same offers, just like we would. We use the Investment Dominator as our, to calculate our minimum and our maximum. And I'll usually put an offer right in between, in the middle of your minimum and maximum. So acquiring land has been the same, but selling land on the back end, whenever we get to the point where we're going to actually sell land, we're in a complete ready to sell mode, we're going to market that property. That's where we've adjusted our prices. We've come down on some of our prices, probably discounted a lot of our parcels for right around 10% or so, because of what is going on with COVID-19. We're still trying to encourage our buyers to, make our land more attractive to buyers. So we have discounted our land significantly. Let's say if we have it up for, I don't know, let's say we got one here for 31,500. Now this is not our account, but if we had one up for 31,000, we might come down at least 10%, anywhere from 10 to 20%. So we would discount this about 3 grand, you know, bring it down to right around 28 or maybe even 26,000, because of what's going on in the market right now, just so we can keep things going. And we know that once we've done that, we've advertised. The last blowout we had was a Memorial Day. We did a Memorial Day sale or a blowout, and we even sold a couple of pieces of property, got it under contract to sell the week or so after Memorial Day. So that's the only thing that really changed, is what we put our prices on, how we reduce our prices to sell the property. But in buying the property, we're still doing the exact same thing we've always done. Okay, so one or two more of these backlog questions, and then I'm going to try to knock out these questions that are coming in right now as I'm looking at them roll in. Thank you all for sending in your questions. It's very helpful for everyone in the group. So Randy asked a question on Monday. Do people who have Pat Live take the initial after offer received calls too? Okay. So do we have Pat Live answer after offer received questions? Is really what Randy is asking. So basically, after we have this in pending preliminary research, we go and we do our work, we find an offer amount, and we're going to calculate the market value. We're going to come up with an offer, and we're going to send this offer out. So we know that based on what's in our company information, we know that Pat Live handles the neutral letter calls that come in, right? They answer those initial calls. But Randy's question is, do we also have Pat Live after they have responded to the neutral letter? We've sent them out an offer. When they call back, they hit extension 2 saying they want to discuss that offer or maybe even accept that offer. Do we have this correspondence or this type of call being handled by Pat Live? And the answer is absolutely not. we don't want Pat Live picking up our offer call. So we've sent someone an offer. We've said, I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars for your property. I would not want Pat Live taking that call when they call back. Main reason is that Pat Live, has no vested interest in how much I'm going to pay for land. And if my seller calls back, he's interested in maybe doing a deal with me and selling me his property. Pat Live can't answer some of the important questions that that the seller is going to have. So I want to be the one to be able to answer that question, or I'm going to put in place a VA that knows our land business. There are VAs that you can put in place that make sure they understand your thinking on how, once you create an offer, how much negotiation room you have. There are groups like Rocket Station. Rocket Station is a place that has individuals that are very intelligent about our land. They are familiar with our land business, so they might be able to be trained to answer some of your offer calls. But personally, my take on it is I want to be the one to answer those calls. So hopefully that gives you some insight. You don't want Pat Live taking care of that. Okay. So let's see if there's anything that's going along with what we've been speaking about here. I still have several other questions that came in that I want to get to, but I'll see if I can catch one of these here today. Let me look at a couple of them. Okay, so Lori is saying here on one of her questions that she printed a batch of blind offers. And the contracts didn't fill in the names of the sellers. Okay. Did not have sellers' names. And so that would actually equate to being the owner's name. That seller, that's the owner. So I'm wondering, okay, the only one that filled in was a trust company. And do I have to do custom cover letters for blind offers if I want the owner ID on the letter? No, you do not. Okay. Okay, first question is what might have happened to the name of the sellers, okay, or the owner's name. All right, if we go back here and I were to do offer request. So if I'm going to send out, let's just say, a blind offer on this first one here from Lee County. And if I select this, all right, when I go into my generate documents, all right, it's going to appear not only in the offer section, but if I'm doing blind offers, I'm going to look in this blind offer section. That's the first thing. So in doing this blind offer, when I produce that out, let's see. Let me make sure I have it set up right. Oh, okay. So I do not. Let's see. One of the first things I need to do, I need to make sure that I have an offer amount. Let's say with 33, I'm gonna go up here. I'll calculate. Investment Dominator says I should go anywhere between $4,600 and $6,600. So let's put an offer in there of $5,247.89. All right. Some of you may not get that precise with it, but I'm just coming up with an offer here. 46, so I'm gonna look at 52. In fact, let's go on and make that 5,700. Okay, so this is my offer now, and I make sure I save that, and I'll update my record just to make sure. So now when I go back, I see my offer amount is in there. So let's just say I'm going to do a blind offer. So I come in here, go into my generate documents, go into blind offers. This is the section you want to be under. Sometimes individuals are still getting confused thinking that it's the offer section, but it's the blind offer. And so now when I print that out, here is my blind offer. And what I'm hearing is that there's nothing under this seller information. Okay, if that is the case, then the only reason that that would be the case is if, for some reason, there is not an owner's first name and last name along with the mailing address, etc. Because that's where Investment Dominator is going to pull that information. So if the contracts didn't fill in the name, I would go back. First thing I would go back and do is check my record, check my Investment Dominator record, make sure you have an owner's ID, right? And make sure you have a not only caller's name, but that you have the owner's name filled out. And of course, if there are more than one owner on the title, and you say yes here, you'll see where you have a chance to put in the second owner's names as well. And make sure that once you fill in that information, that you don't forget to update the record. Okay? So that's the only reason I could think of, Lori, why the contracts didn't fill in the name of the sellers. And you're asking, do you have to do custom cover letters for blind offers if you want the owner ID on the letter? No, you shouldn't have to do custom, because when I came in here and I selected this and I go to generate documents, it gives me my offer letter, my cover letter right here. So, okay, excuse me. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. I should be, if I'm doing blind offers, I could close this up. I should go into the blind offer section, and I'll produce my cover letter, my blind offer cover letter here. And when I say enable, so you see I have the owner's name, their address information should be showing up there, and your reference, your owner reference number should be also on your envelope that you're going to print out. You're going to print this out at as well. So I just want to make sure that you know that when you're printing out, you don't need to create a custom cover letter for blind offers. But if your owner ID is not on here, which, let's see. As a matter of fact, I'm not seeing it on this cover letter. All right. So hopefully this answers your question. If your owner ID is not on here, which I'm not seeing it on here, for Marguerite, that means, let me see if it's on the actual agreement, which it's not. So that would be, yes, I'm going to change my answer there. If you want to see it, not seeing it show here, you will probably have to create, let's see, this is your cover letter. Let's check your envelope. That is a correct statement. Okay, so I stand corrected on that. You will have to actually generate a custom letter that would have your reference number or your owner's number. If you want the owner ID on the letter, yes, you will have to create that. Sorry about that. I just now, as I was going through answering your question, I could see that I thought it was being printed out already, but it's not. So that's interesting. I thought we did have it on the actual blind offer. I don't think it's on the regular offer either. Let me check that real quick. Okay. Nope, it's not, because you have the seller's name, but you do not have a reference number. If you want to put the reference number on there, you'll have to create a custom document with that owner's reference number. Okay. So anyway, thank you for asking that. Got a little insight there myself. All right. All right, and we have another common situation that we see with Investment Dominator. Let's see, from Bahindra. Let's see, Bahindra's question here is, if you have 1,000 records and only want 600 to send it to printing, okay, how do you choose? Okay. You have 1,000 records and only want to print or send, I'm assuming, to ITI or either REI printing. ITI, how do you choose? Okay. Good question, Mahindra. So let's assume here, in my, any records in prospect status, right? You want to send anything in prospect status, you want to send it via you want to have it be put into a .csv file, and you want to send it to the send it to ITI for printing. Basically, what I would do if I had 1,000 records, now you can see that we have this ID over here, right? So usually this is in order based on the way you imported them into Investment Dominator. So let's just say you're going to select, some range of number here, and let's pretend that I want to mail out 949 through 954. Those are the ones I want to mail. The other ones I don't want to mail. So what I'm going to do, and let me make sure I'm searching this first to make sure I don't have any. I'm going to change my status here, is my point. Status. See if I have any that are on hold. Okay, I've got quite a few on hold. So I'm going to take those off hold. I'm going to select all and change the status. I'm going to change the status to don't bother me. Okay, I have a special status in here. It says don't bother me. So I'm taking 51 records that were on hold, and I'm going to move to don't bother me. Okay, so now I have nothing on hold. So my point is, let's just say I wanted to take 949 through 954. I want to print those. Any other records that is in prospect status, I'm going to put those on hold. So let's just say I'm going to I'll just say I'm going to take all of my prospect records for right now. If the status is prospect, and I'm going to search for all of them. I'm going to select all. So I'm going to put all of my prospect records on hold. Kind of thinking about this as I'm going. I'm going to put those on hold. Confirm that move. So I have 537 records on hold. Clear my search. Okay. So select status equal to on hold. Okay. On hold, and I'm going to do my search. So now I've got all of my records here on hold, right? Which is fine. So the only ones that I want to mail out now, since all of these are on hold, the only ones I want to mail out one status equal to on hold. Okay, the only ones that I want to mail out are, we said was 949 through 954. Now in your case, it's going to be 600 of these records. The quickest way to select all 600, of the records at one time is to search by your property ID range, and we can say I want to select 949, and yours is going to have a different range, obviously, because you're going to have 600 records. But I'm going to say 949 to 954. To 954. And I'm just going to select those records, right? And then I'm going to change the status of those records. Okay, I'll just say select all those records, and I'm going to change the status back to prospect. So it's going to be 6 records. So I move these 6 records now back to prospect. In your case, it's going to be 600 records that are going to now end up in prospect status. Keep in mind, all of my other prospect records, they're on hold, so they're not going to be affected by my moving these to prospect. Then I'm going to come up here under my campaigns. I'm going to look at this .csv. Remember, if you're sending them to letterprinting.net, you're sending this neutral letter template, envelope template, and this CSV file, which is going to have those 6 records that I want to now send to ITI. So, and it assigns, the order IDs, and this would be my 600 records that you want sent. But the main thing I did was to put all of my prospect records on hold first. Then I selected the 600. I would select the 600 by using my property ID range, one number to another. Select all, 600 of those records, and then I want to change the status back to prospect, so that when I go up here and I do my bulk level command, all 600 of those records end up in a CSV file like this, so that you can then send them to letter printing. Now, when I'm finished, then I can go back in, I clear my search. I'm going to go back in again, select by status, all my records that are on hold, right? Select all of these on hold, and I'm going to select all, and then I'm going to go back and change the status back to prospect, so that I put them back in prospect. So you see I've got my 531. I confirm that move. Okay, I haven't done that for a while. This is why. This is why. Just what you saw me go through there. This is why we're asking that you only bring into Investment Dominator in prospect status the records that you want to process each time. If you've got several thousand records, you've got to go through what I just went through every single time to only pull out the ones that you want to print if you want to use the your bulk level commands up here and make it easy on yourself. Okay, so that took me about 10 minutes to complete that. So this is the reason why we asked you to do that. Okay, so Jason asked a question about the calculator, the offer calculator. Okay, why was it set? Why was it set to 14% to 20% instead of 5% to 25%? Okay, so why does it vary? And the reason it varies is that is the way Investment Dominator is set up to determine under your offer request, this one lead property here. When I came in, selected that property, and I went up here under my calculation, my offer calculation, based on the market value. So internally with Investment Dominator, the higher your market value, the more it will modify the minimum and your maximum. We've got a market value here of 33,000. If I have a market value of 10,000, notice how it goes 11% to 16%. Investment Dominator, based on whatever your market value is, it has this internal algorithm, and I don't know exactly how the algorithm is set to determine these numbers, but it will the lower your market value, the lower percentages Investment Dominator goes. And so if I came down to, if I brought that to 5,000, notice it goes 6% to 13%. It's got an internal way of determining that. So my whole point is, all you really need to know is that the higher you go, if I went to 40,000, we go 16% to 21%, right? If I go 50,000, we go 17% to 22%, right? It's going to calculate as your minimum and your maximum. So the higher I go, it's going to take these percentages up. Now, the max is going to be 25% no matter what I do. So if I have a property 80 grand, 18 to 25% is what it's going to automatically calculate. So the bottom line is, you understand, the higher your market, the higher this percentage goes. Now, anything over, I'm really thinking 70 grand. Let me see what 70 grand calculates. Yeah, 70 grand calculates 25% as well. So what does that mean? When I get properties that are more expensive, meaning my market value is higher, I normally, and this is just me, and this is if I know my area. So don't take this as an entire rule, but if I know the area that I'm marketing to, and I really want to get that property under contract, right? Because I know I can sell land in that area. I've done some deals already. I'm knowledgeable about the county, etc. So I've got knowledge about it. If I know my area, I may on purpose do my own calculation and say, well, rather than calculating at uh, 25%, I might want to calculate 35% of this amount. If my market value is 70,000, I may want to go 35%. All right. And so my maximum figure here, my maximum is going to be, instead of 17.5, my maximum will be 24,500. This is if I really want to get land under contract. I wouldn't encourage you as a new investor to start doing this automatically, because first of all, you can't change these figures here. You can't change any of the minimum or your maximum. These are calculated, these are built in with Investment Dominator, or calculated as Investment Dominator calculates these percentages. But you can make an offer based on your max being 24,500 as opposed to 17,500, right? So that's just some insight for you. It's totally up to you how you want to handle that. But as a new investor, when we first were doing the business, we stuck with whatever Investment Dominator says. If it says don't calculate, don't go any over 25%, we didn't go over 25% of that market value, and we did get deals. As you get into higher price properties, you might get fewer deals, but you still get deals. Okay. So I'm hoping I'm not confusing anybody. That's just some insight I wanted to give you there. So Ernie had a question from last week. So this is about changing the status. Say I changed the status of one record from prospect to blind offers sent. So Ernie was in here. He had looked at all in the process. He changed a record. So we did do. Ernie must have been in the 2-day workshop. Okay. Let me get this question down here. Ernie was in the 2-day workshop, and he changed the status from prospect here to blind offer sent. Okay. Right. Blind offers sent status. And he says it's not showing up in offers made. The message is currently, no records meet this criteria. Okay. So Ernie had records he imported into Investment Dominator. He selected one. So let's select this one. And let's change this status to blind offers sent. All right. And we confirm that move. And now then, just keep in mind, this is Hilbert Humphrey, and it's Lee County. So we're changing Hilbert Humphrey. All right, we confirm that move. So, and his point is, the record disappeared, all right, which it does. And when he went in to look into his campaigns area, or he went to look for that record, it says there's no records. Let's say if he went under offers made, the message he got was there's no records that meet this criteria. All right. But we see right here, when I change this to blind offer sent, Hilbert Humphrey, that record shows up under offers made. Okay. So I'm gonna challenge you, Ernie, to do this again. All right, because all I did was say, I took this from prospect status, I changed it to blind offer sent, even though I don't even have an offer amount, but I just changed the record. But it should show up when you hit your offers made. This is not a status. This is a stage. When you hit your offers stage, offers made stage, you see what shows up is offers sent as well as blind offers sent show up in that particular stage. So I'm not quite understanding why yours didn't. The only thing I could think of is if I went back to all in process and I do this one. Let's select this one. Now he says he changed the status. The only thing I think that might have happened, Ernie, is that if you came in here and you edited the record and you changed it this way, let's say you changed this to blind offers sent, but you did not update your record. All right? If I change it to blind offers sent, but I don't update my record so that the system knows, and I go back out now, and then I go under offers made, you see, that's not going to show up. That's what 99% of the time what happens is when folks go in and edit their records, they edit the records. So here it is, U Trucking Incorporated. We edit that record, change it to blind offers sent, right? And we don't update the record here, but we just go back in, we go back out of that, all right? It's still in prospect status, so then when we go to offers made, it doesn't show up here. But if I edit the record, I change it to blind offers sent, and I update my record, make sure I get this green record is updated message. Now, when I go out of here and I go back to offers made, okay, here's my record. It shows up here under as it should. So that's the only thing I can think of why it wouldn't have changed. Now, if I'm on the outside and I don't edit the record and I go here, select the record, and then I just go to change status here, and I change it this way to blind offers sent. When I confirm this move, when you do that, it's just like updating my record. So it depends on how, Ernie, you change the record. Did you use the change status here, or did you edit the record and try to change the status? That's the only reason I could see that it did not update for you. And I hope that gets gives you a little more clarity on why it's important. You got to make sure you always update your record in Investment Dominator. And let's see. So let's see. Okay, so we did have a question from Susan about one thing we did a while back. I want to make sure I clear that up before we get off the call. So it's about the missing ID, the owner ID record, owner ID reference number. Okay. So why add this owner ID? Well, that's a good question, Susan. What we were talking about here a while back here, a few transactions ago, we went into our offer request, and I think it was we had a question that came in about how to put, if we were doing a blind offer. Let's say we selected this offer amount here. We go in, we generate our documents, and we're doing an offer or a blind offer, and on this particular document that comes out of Investment Dominator, we don't have the owner's reference number. So in other words, we don't have the owner's ID for this particular record. The owner's reference number is this ID is 235. That's not showing up. All right. That's not showing up anywhere on this sale agreement. It's also not showing up on the cover letter. And so Susan's asking, well, you know, what would be the reason? Why would you add that missing ID on the letters to an enhancement request? We add the missing ID on the letters to an enhancement request. Not, I thought I understood the question, Susan. Maybe I'm missing it, but I'm not really clear. Since you have an offer, you have the offer, you have the person's name on the offer. I'm not so sure that needs to be added because I'm not sure it buys you anything. Since you do have the person's name, you can verify when they call you. You can verify their address information. You've got that in their agreement. So I'm not so sure. I'm just saying if for some reason, I forget who it was that wanted to add that. Custom cover letters. Okay, that was Lori. Lori was talking about, I do have to do a custom cover letter for blind offers if I want the owner ID on the letter. Yeah, so she's talking about if she wants to see the owner ID show up on the custom letter, show up on the offer, the sale agreement, and the cover letter, she'd have to make a custom offer, so that sale agreement, so that this number then gets added to that. I'm not exactly sure why, Lori would want that on there, but I'm just saying if you do want that on there, you can add it on there, but what's required is a custom agreement. It doesn't just automatically get put on there. Personally, I don't see a need for it, but Lori may have a business need for that, and that's what we're trying to get folks to understand is that it doesn't, for offers or blind offers, you're not going to automatically see that owner ID show up. Now, once you've created your custom offer, if you want to do that, make sure you check for it down here in the custom document template area. It's not going to automatically show up in your blind offer area. Anytime you create any kind of custom document, it will always be in the custom document template area. Okay. So we knocked out a few questions today that came in today. We also knocked out a few that were from last week. I'm see if there's something I can create here in the next few minutes, if I can knock out at least one more. Okay. A general question that came in, it must have come in through the ticketing system, is why do we not send out offers by email? Okay, why not send out offers by email? Okay, there's a caveat to this. If you're out of the country, you may want to send your offers by email. If you're living out of the country, you would use something called like click to mail, which is a way that you could mail via email. All right, so you're actually going to create an email which would mail your offers out this way. Okay, but the question is, okay, this is if you're outside of the United States. All right, it's cost effective to use click to mail. But if you're within the United States, why do we not send our offers out via email? Number one reason is, okay, what is happening here? I'm getting logged out of everything. Okay, so we have our offers here. Why would you not send this offer via email? Number one reason is that it's inconsistent with your sellers. So your sellers, remember originally, they get a letter from you in prospect status, right? So you sent your initial letter in prospect status and they got it via the mail. They got it through the US mail. So now, if you now turn around once they want an offer and you send that offer out via email, you're inconsistent with how you're communicating with them. So they might or might not see your actual offer, right? That's one reason. Number two, um, the fact that you try to email these offers, since this might be the first time you're emailing your customer, it could end up in spam. It could end up in their spam folder as opposed to ending up in their mailbox. So those are the two reasons I can think of off the top of my head. You sent it by mail, their first correspondence. You also want to follow this up with another letter using a stamp so that they make sure they get your offer. Two reasons I can think of. All right. So people, that's all we have time. We're actually a minute over. Let me leave this thought with you today. This thought that came from actually this one came from Zig Ziglar. Please don't be distracted by criticism. Remember, the only taste of success some people will ever get is to take a bite out of you. All right? That's from Zig Ziglar. I like that. Don't be distracted by criticism because the only taste of success some people will get is the bite that they take out of you. All right, folks, I want you to have a good remainder of your day and a great weekend. I really admire you people out there doing this land flipping business. It takes something to confront yourselves and to keep moving forward when you get, if you get anything that's disappointing. So just keep in mind, move forward. Don't stop sending out those letters. Don't start, taking care of those offer requests, and you will be successful in this business. I want you to have a great remainder of your day and a wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there. Bye bye now.